Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Gervais podcast. We're waiting for Rock Lee. Hopefully, he'll be here in a little bit. Um, but I just want to say welcome again. Also, if you're looking for any of the social medias, go to bio.link/nonsensical network, where you will find not only the social medias, but you will find out the five. Well, there's a show for every day. Monday is Men Caring for Men, the men's mental health show. Tuesday is Jeff's Garage. Wednesday is What the Fuck News, where we talk everything from sports to current events, conspiracy theories, and also we have our very own weatherman, Cly Matite. What the Fuck News is all about stuff that makes you go, what the fuck? Thursday is Talking Shit with Mark and Brian. They try to do everything pop culture, from interviewing guests to talking about your favorite things and also their favorite things. Friday is Glick's House of Music, where Glick will talk about some of his favorite music and also interview musical guests. Saturday is the flagship show, Nonsensical Nonsense, where they will pretty much open the doors, have people come in, talk some smack, all that stuff. And then on Sunday, we go a little low key, and it's the Gervais podcast. Everything pop culture, where I interview guests, talk about movie reviews, review TV shows, a little bit of everything. But soon we will be rebranding. And today, my interview with Rock Lee, we're going to be talking about video games. We're going to talk about our favorite video games, the current culture of virtual currency in video games, and also the console wars. So, like I said, we're going to wait for Rock Lee to get in here, which I just messaged him. He said he's about ready to hop in. So we're just going to wait for him. But hopefully everyone's having a wonderful day today. I know, here in Minnesota, it's been kind of interesting with the way the weather has been lately. But I enjoy it. Been able to get out on a few walks lately, get that much needed exercise in. So yeah, hopefully today's show goes perfect. I know I've been so excited to have Rock Lee come on the show and be able to kind of inform us a little bit with some of his video game prowess and favorite video games that he likes. Hey, Brian, how are you doing today, bud? Also, for anyone that missed it, Thursday, part of the Talking Shit crew and also Men Caring for Men teamed up and had some very good interviews with our veterans in kind of a tribute to our service members. Monday now will be part 2 of those interviews, and it should be pretty interesting. And now Rock Lee is here. Rock Lee, how are you doing, bro?
What's going on? Gervais.
Hey, yo.
What's
Not
going
bad, all
on,
right?
man? I'm sorry, I was on the phone.
You're good.
So look at this, a small panel, nice and intimate on the Gervais podcast. What is going on, everybody?
Yeah, you would be in the pool, Brian. Fucking lucky prick.
For real.
But no, it's been going pretty good. Haven't had to deal with Cly Matite on Wednesdays very often, which is very nice.
Oh, that guy. Oh man, I can't stand that guy.
Well, like I told Glick, I said, he's been Cly Matite, the weatherman, he's been talking a lot of smack. He's been throwing some stuff at all of us in the network. And I told Glick, I'm like, hey, if you and Rock need an extra partner, make me an honorary Sasquatchian. I'll be there with you guys. Climatite, he can get his two best. We'll settle this in the ring.
I'm down. I will bestow that on you as of like right now. You are honorary Sasquatchian. Welcome to the clan. The more the better, because I don't know how many of those Yeti he has. So the more the merrier.
Well, exactly. And today we're going to be talking about video games.
Oh boy.
We're going to be talking our favorite video games, the current culture of video games with the VC or virtual currency in video games, and also our thoughts and feelings on the console wars.
Ooh, the console wars. Oh man, I can't wait to get into that because I've been seeing a lot of TikTok content lately. That is pretty funny. Pretty funny in that regard.
So, Rock, what do you want to start with first?
Let's talk about. I mean, shoot, I would love to hear your favorite video games.
Ooh. All right. I'll I have to say I was a '90s kid, so I grew up with
Uh-huh.
Sega. Also had the Sega Genesis, had the PlayStation 1. So my favorite games at that point in my life were Sonic. I loved Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
And of course, even being able to go to the local video game stores back in the day or video rental places and being able to pretty much rent some of the newest games that they were getting was pretty awesome. I love that.
Right.
And I think really what it was now we have pretty much Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo still, and
Mm-hmm.
PC gaming. But I love the classics. I remember when one of my mom's friends, teacher friends, came over and was like, "Hey, have you ever played the NES?" And I'm like, "No." And they had what is the Excite Bike
Oh
game.
man.
And I played that. I loved it. And I was like, what other games did the person have? And they're like, oh, well, I have Mario Brothers.
Yeah. Classic.
And I loved playing Super Mario Brothers,
Yeah.
And then of course as we got into the Xbox era and all that, I loved playing Halo, loved playing Call of
There we
Duty,
go.
loved playing Gears of War, loved playing
Mm.
Assassin's Creed, loved
Oh
playing
man.
GTA. I was a
Of
big fan
course.
of GTA, especially when Vice City came out.
Yeah.
And I
Did you play
remember,
GTA 5 at all?
oh yeah, big fan of GTA 5. San Andreas, I loved San Andreas. I remember I remember in 2004, I do believe, when Vice City came out, me and my mom and my older brother Keith were up in Duluth, Minnesota, and my brother begged my mom, like, "Hey, can we go and get this game?" We got the game, and me and my brother were just sitting around. We weren't playing any of the missions. We were just sitting around, driving around, messing
Yeah.
around and stuff. And then when San Andreas came out, it was pretty much just having fun. I mean, when San Andreas the trailer dropped and they're playing Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like the
Man, that
new
is.
college football game did with
Mhm.
the trailer for their reveal and all that with Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. I was like, oh man, like I was so stoked for that game. The game come out and played San Andreas. Couldn't put it down. Like one of my favorites. Vice City, I would say, is probably my favorite. Now with GTA 6 going to Vice City, I'm just like, oh, I can't wait. And
I would say
Halo.
that Halo, you mentioned Halo, man. My world revolved around Master Chief for
Yep.
the longest, man. I could not get over that guy. I was just like, this is cool.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I loved Master Chief. I loved playing Halo 2 with a bunch of my friends. You
Yeah,
know,
I love when Microsoft incorporated that into their what was it? Is it i10 or i9? No, wait, i9 or Windows 10, Windows 11,
yeah,
somewhere around there where the settings were Cortana.
yep.
I geeked out so hard, man. I was just like, that is so cool, man. Like I literally built everything on my computer and Halo and that Master Chief wallpapers and a bunch of stuff like that because I just thought it was super cool.
Well, I mean, definitely. And that was the thing about it, was that, back in the day, I mean, heck, I remember when GoldenEye came out for N64.
Mm,
And like people were always talking about, the younger generation now are always like, well, Call of Duty's where all that first started. I'm like, no, no, no,
no, it's not. Yeah.
no. The very first addicting multiplayer game was GoldenEye. And if you had three other controllers, you had your buddies, you had your family there playing
Right.
GoldenEye. You
Yeah,
know,
and you know what? Before comms, like before headsets and stuff
yeah,
like that, like, super dope. Like you just sit in the living room and rage with your friends.
oh
Can you
yeah,
imagine if like, Fortnite lobbies nowadays, Call of Duty lobbies nowadays were like that, where you actually had to be physically in front of the TV and you're all looking at the TV and it used to be split into its own little like quads of what you're doing in the mission. That oh man. I can imagine how many people would end up in the hospital.
well, I mean, definitely, God, I remember when N64 first came out, and my mom and dad, or me, me and my brother's parents were divorced by this time, and we had begged both of them to get us an N64. Well, they're all sold out in stores, so what my mom had to do was get a PO box and order it. And I'll always say this: kids will never know how much of a pain in the ass that was, because you never got the tracking number. You never knew when that N64 was coming in the post office in that
It was
PO
just gonna
box.
show up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was like 1 to 2 months, and
We're
finally
definitely spoiled now. Like
oh,
when
we
you think
are,
about
we
games,
are,
even because PC wasn't doing stuff like that before either.
no,
So you have like Insta games or game carriers such as EA, well, Steam for one. You buy it instantly with no money, visually or virtually, and then you automatically download that game to your computer. Depending on your internet speed, you have access to that game. And let's just say the worst case scenario, 2 hours of a full game versus buying it and then waiting in the mail for it to show up a week from now, 2 weeks from now. Yeah, it's definitely I'm spoiled. I'll even say that now. Now I look at my computer when I'm downloading a game and I'm like, oh man, so it's gonna take 2 hours. When Cyberpunk came out, it's like, oh man,
oh man, I
it's
gave
gonna
my
take two
friends
hours.
so much shit for that game when it first came out, because he wasn't one of those people that were out there saying, hey, you promised that it was coming out on this day, and the developers are like, well, pump the brakes, there's a lot we still need to work on. And people
No,
were just, there was those types of people all the time that were freaking out and going like, hey, no, we want the game, you promised the game, we want it on this date that you promised, we don't
hmm
care. And then as soon as it came out and it wasn't working, like,
then everyone
people
got
were
mad.
pissed.
Yeah, what's
Hey
going on,
Chris, how
Chris?
you doing? And that's the thing that pissed me off. And like, I look back on all those times, like kids today, as gamers, we are so lucky for what we have today, because back early on, you never got all these reveals as much as we are today.
Well, yeah, I mean, shoot. I mean, they've even elevated it to a point where they're giving you pre-notions of games coming out,
Yep.
whereas before there was like there's maybe a trailer, but there wasn't a conference for it really. And having the ability to know to buy release games too, games that haven't even come out yet. We have such an ability that I don't think that is really appreciated by the younger generation only because of the fact that they've always had instant access. So anytime they've needed it, they've always had that. So the appreciation of having to wait for it is gone. A lot of stuff is instant like that now, though. You know,
Well, yeah, and like, the thing that made me sad was when video rental stores went by. Because like
Blockbuster. Does
uh,
anybody know what that is?
I heard a Blockbuster, been by a lot of them, never went in one.
I
And
had
like,
one right down the street from me, and no lie. And I would go there all the time for video games and board games. I would go there all the time.
well, like, and that's the thing. Like, kids today are like, what are video rental stores? And it's like the nostalgia from getting off of school, going home, and then just like me, I would always beg my parents, like, hey, can I get like $5? Because I never had an allowance. Like
Yeah.
I never expected to have an allowance with my parents. I always helped my parents out, and they'd be like, yeah, sure, we'll go up there. And if
Mhm.
my mom didn't rack up so many late charges that they had to like go like, nope, we have to kind
We
of,
have to we have to
we
wait.
can't, yeah. Like my
Oh yeah,
parents,
remember returning video games late.
yeah,
I
like
forgot
my
about that. Yeah.
my parents, the coolest thing my parents ever did for like me and my older brother was like, they're like, hey, you're old enough to have your own video membership.
Yeah.
And like I was like, thank you. Like you don't have to get me anything for Christmas. I was so happy to have my own membership at a video rental store, and like they would send us up with like
Oh
five
man.
dollars. And if you got 5 movies or 5 games, you had them for 5 days. Granted,
Yeah.
let's be honest, we went a little over that because we'd
Of course.
forget. We'd
Yeah.
forget. But here's the thing, like I miss those times. Like I told Alyssa, I'm like, when we have kids, they aren't gonna realize how well they had it. And like I
Yeah.
told Alyssa, I'm like, hopefully with this whole podcasting thing, it goes somewhere because I'm so excited to keep doing this. And like being a part of the network is so cool.
Yeah.
It's like I told Glick, I was like, I literally told Glick one day, he's like, what would you do when we start, when your podcast makes it big, Steven? And I'm like, honestly, I would bring I would I would bring back the experience that if one of my friends came over and wanted to rent a movie, they could. Or rent a
Right.
game, they could.
Do you have a
And
collection of games still, like the actual disc, like uh, what is it? Is it CD-ROM, or DVD? No, it's not DVD. The
CD-ROM.
actual, yeah, the
Yeah,
CD-ROM. Oh yeah,
yeah.
do you still have those?
No, I don't. And that makes me sad because it's like everything now is going digital. That's
Yeah,
like oh man,
yeah.
I miss
I'm pretty
going to a
sure
movie
I have
store
a
and doing all
copy
that.
of the original Halo,
Nice.
the original, brand new in a case, because my dad and my mom bought me the same video game for Christmas, and I ended up not keeping one. I opened my mom's or my dad's, I don't remember, and I kept the other one in its case. Hey, Chris, I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah,
Thanks for stopping
I'm
in,
doing
man.
pretty good as well. But and that's the thing. Like, I remember just having a bunch of my friends come over, and like my mom would be like, "Hey, Steven, what do you and your friends want to do?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna go in the basement. We're gonna play video games. Could you order us a pizza?" And
Yep.
like the money that I would earn from helping out my parents, I use my own money. Like I'd be like, "Here's $20, mom. Order a pizza."
Yep.
And whatever you want, mom, whatever you wanted she wanted for dinner, or if I was hanging out over at my dad's place, it'd be like, whatever you want, go ahead, dad, order. And,
Yeah.
like not many kids my age did that.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, I was
Oh,
so,
speaking of that, the dinner report. I have not eaten dinner yet. I
neither
did
have
have
I.
just a light snack though. For
Neither have
now,
I.
7 Up. That's what I got for
Water.
now. I've drinking too much of that already. I went for a jog earlier today, and it was pouring down rain.
Oh,
Not
I
not
bet.
not water the way you think. Water, and I went outside and took a bath in Mother Nature
Nice.
like a true Sasquatchian. I
Let's go.
am.
But and that was the thing. Like, I think I had one of those childhoods where like my brother had an allowance, but if
Mhm.
like anyone ever met my brother and someone said, "Hey Keith, I heard you had an allowance, but Steven didn't," my brother would deny it.
Yeah, I
But
never got an allowance either.
at the same time, like my parents wanted like me to learn about an allowance and all that. And I was just like, don't worry about it, like I didn't care. Like my parents used to worry because as a lot of people that know, my real father abandoned me. So my brother's dad adopted not he tried to legally adopt me, but my real father said no, I'm not gonna allow you to. So my dad unofficially adopted me. And like I never wanted to I didn't want Christmas presents growing up. Like my parents would literally be like, "Well, Keith, maybe you could talk to your little brother Steven and see what he wants for Christmas." Because no one in my family could ever get me to be like, "Oh yeah, I want that toy." Like no, I was never that kid.
Right.
And like when we got video game systems, like I would always have to ask my parents, like, is it okay if I played it? And they're like, yeah, it's you and your brothers. And like all of a sudden, if they said it was okay, then I was going to my older brother and being like, hey, is it okay if, if I play video games, Keith? And my brother's like, yeah, dude, it's our video game system. It's ours together. And so like my brother taught me how to play video games, and at the
Oh
same
man.
time, like not only that, but I think he kind of like would go upstairs and ask my parents, like, did Steven ask you to play video games? And they're like, yeah, did he ask you? And
Yeah.
then my brother's like, yeah. And it's like they always thought it was weird that I was doing that. Or like if my brother had his best friend over, which rest in peace to Ryan, um, like I miss those times that my brother Keith would have his best friend Ryan over and they would play video games, and like me wanting to be a part of that, I was like, hey, can I hang out with you guys? And sometimes they're like, yeah, and other times they're like, no, we want to hang out, by ourselves. And so now it's like I would go outside and just throw the football or play baseball by myself.
Oh yeah, man. I loved football as long as for so long. I had such a long love for it. I'm a very tragic story when
Yeah.
it comes to football. I used to have such a love for it. I played football in the minor, of course, the little kid leagues. I was around
Yeah.
4 years old and
Same.
played every single year. Got into high school, played football as well, and then I just as soon as I got to college, I just lost it. I lost the love for it completely. Like completely. Music literally took over. And it was like the main thing for me. I was like, yeah. So and then when the pandemic happened, I really, really lost it because as soon as I saw the cardboard cutouts in the stands, I was done. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is a glitch in the matrix, man. I can't I can't stand behind it. I love the players, but I can't stand behind cardboard cutouts in the audience. That's just you might as well just leave it empty at that
Well,
point, you
yeah.
know?
I mean, when I played sports and all that, like my dad would come to the games, but my mom wouldn't, which I understood. And it was just like it was cool to at least have one parent there, but at the same time, it was like I started getting injured like in middle school and high school, so it was like going to college was like my dream to play sports in college, but then it's like after I had screwed up my knees so bad and my body started to give away, it was kind of like, well, you know, maybe sports isn't
The
where I'm
thing for
supposed to
you.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
No,
and
I
which kind
I
of
did that
sucked.
and wrestling. I did both.
Yeah. I was football, wrestling, and baseball.
Mm,
And like I football, I was one of those, I was such an overachiever in football that wasn't even funny.
yeah.
Like I was the backup that as soon as the
Yeah.
starting quarterback would come off the field, like I was like hitting them in the shoulder pads, like hitting like headbutting them and all that shit. And like a
Yeah.
couple of times they'd be like, "Hey, that's our quarterback. You don't need to kill the guy." And I
Yeah.
was just like, "Yeah, but I'm so amped up." And like when we did the punt returns and all that, like, oh man, that was fun for me.
Yeah, I would do that stuff too. Another thing that I feel like is missing, staying on the topic of video games, but it's like, I didn't play video games nearly as often as I see like a lot of kids do now. Like
Well,
there
yeah.
wasn't even an opportunity to really even make money on it before. Like it was just an entertainment thing that you did. And unless you got into like video game designing or web design, like something along those lines, there wasn't an opportunity to be a streamer. You know what I mean? Like there
Well,
was,
definitely.
I don't know. It was just, or if it was very exclusive. It wasn't so
Yeah.
easily accessible to everyone. And I used to spend some time outside. I play games and go outside. I do both.
Yep.
Um, and still had the best time playing so many great games, like so many good games. Game Genie for the glitch in the Matrix. Yeah. I'm saying, man, it's crazy. It was.
Oh, dude, it definitely was. I mean, I remember when my parents got their before they did get divorced in like 99. Um, I remember me and my brother's parents getting our first family computer, which was Microsoft Windows 95.
Yeah, man. Do you remember
And
the
the
freaking
game,
the sound that came on with that computer?
oh yeah.
What was
And
that
then
sound? I feel like I
oh,
completely
dude, I
forgot.
can't even remember. But the
That's
one
crazy.
game like my brother wanted them to get was Monster Truck Madness
Why have I've
with
heard of that?
Bigfoot, uh, Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger, um, uh, Snakebite, Samson, Power Wheels, Monster Patrol, Barefoot, all those night. And that's the thing, like, yeah, we get it, Brian. You're old.
He's like
We
my
get it.
my computer had hamsters in it, so I don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, Brian.
And like, and that's the thing. Like, people are always like, oh, Steven, you're only 31. You're born in the 90s. It's like, okay, we get it. I'm not as old as some of my constituents are, but at the same time, it's like, it's nostalgia for me. Like, I
Yeah,
remember playing Doom on PC and
like Brian.
Wolfenstein.
Brian remembers the first TV being invented. So
Brian remembers when the fucking dinosaurs walked around. Like, you know what, Brian? Fuck you.
he's like, I used to have a pet dino when I was a kid.
Like, I love and all joking. I love Brian. Him and Mark on talking shit. They do such an amazing job. Um, hey Wes, how are you doing, bro? Cheers to
What
you
is going
as
on, Riz?
well. And that's the thing. Like, my brother, if he was downstairs playing the PS1 or the Sega Genesis, I was upstairs playing on PC. And like my parents, our parents would like be like, okay, this is an adult type game with like Doom and all that, and they're like, just know that if you were to do these things, it's bad thing consequences for your action, and that's lost today.
Oh man, are you kidding
And
me?
anytime like a shooting happens, the first thing they want to do is blame video games or blame movies or blame musicians, which in the 90s their go-to was blaming Marilyn Manson.
Yeah,
I and it's just like, no. Like
yeah.
if the media and all that would look at the parents more than video games, more than TV, more than movies, more
Yeah.
than music, they would find the true source.
Well, I think that, I think that not giving the information is worse almost, because it's like,
Yeah.
let's say that you give them all the appropriate stuff for their age and stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I knew about GTA because of my friends and everybody else. I would
Yep.
have known. I would have found out anyway. And I would have played it anyway. In some way or form. I would have either played it with my friends at their house, or I would have found a way to do it at the school library. Come on, let's not all act like we haven't done that before.
Yep.
And
Oh yeah.
I would have found a way. But being in a controlled environment, where your parents are aware that you're playing it, and the stuff they don't agree with, they don't want you to do, and they set boundaries. It's a good thing. I wouldn't blame school shootings or any of that on that, but I think that
No.
that takes somebody who's not as old as Brian. I'm joking, Brian. I'm joking. I'm teasing. I think that it just takes somebody who's went through that, to understand that it works.
Well, definitely. I mean, and that was the whole thing. Like, God, I remember in '99 coming home from school when Columbine happened
Yeah.
and seeing it on the news, and my parent and having video games scrutinized and music scrutinized and the
Mhm.
movies we watched and all that scrutinized. And it's just like kids today do not realize how much more it's scrutinized today than it, even back then. Like in the
Yeah.
90s, other than that, well, I mean, we had the Waco siege, which happened, the same
Mhm.
month I was born. Um, the
Waco.
the
I went down
first.
there too, to the site, of everything that happened.
Oh, really?
I actually went and looked, and it's completely abandoned. It's completely like blocked off. Well, kind of blocked off from everyone going to look at it.
Yeah.
But man, it's like that was a crazy situation too.
93, the first time the World Trade Centers had been attacked, even before 9/11.
9/11.
Also 93, we lost a amazing actor, Brandon Lee. He
Mhm.
died a month after I was born. Um, and that's the thing. Like, I look back on, like, even when 9/11 happened, we were watching current events on TV, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden we saw the first plane. And it's just like, I look back on all that stuff and I'm like, God, I hope my kids don't have to see shit like that.
right. Well, I
Because,
feel
like,
like that's our goal, right? Is to make a better place for them, and teach them the right ways and stuff like that. So.
well, yeah. And then, of course, being 6 years old in '99, watching my first scary movie, Halloween, H2O,
There you go,
because it was
man.
on AMC Fear Fest.
Was
And,
that your
like,
first one?
that
Really?
was my first one. Yep.
Oh man, that's
My dad and my brother, our mom was at work, and my dad was babysitting us that night before they would eventually get divorced. And we were watching it on satellite, and AMC Fear Fest, which is a big deal around Halloween time nowadays. Um, Back then in the '90s, it was kind of like it was a new thing. And I remember seeing the very first time Michael Myers and Halloween H2O showed up.
there we go.
Oh,
iPhone,
put that shit away.
iPhone, iPhone. Answer your question,
Um,
Chris.
and I remember seeing his mask, and I freaked out, and I ran into the bedroom. Well, my older brother, picked me up, put me in front of the TV, and sat on me, and said, "You're watching this." And you know, I think that was the biggest thing, was that, I got it introduced to it at a young age, scared the shit out of me. But once I got older and was able to understand movies more, like, I fell in love with all those. And now that Blumhouse has the rights to My Bloody Valentine, I hope they do it right. I always felt that should have gotten a franchise. And Harry Warden slash the Miner, has been one of those franchises that desperately should have gotten one even back in the 80s, but
Oh, you
you
go,
know.
Chris. You're the smart man.
See, there's people that are like, what team iPhone or like even with Xbox and PlayStation here, I'm just like the
I'm
person
curious
that's
about
like,
that too. Like,
I'm like, as long as the fucking I have an Android, but at the same
uh,
time, like I'm not one of those
I'm gonna
people
go ahead and
that's
leave
like,
this call. I'm just.
oh, fuck you, Rock. I'm not one of those people that really cares as long as I'm not paying like $1,000 for my phone
Then
because
you're
all
good.
I literally do is use it for work, text, and call.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
don't need it to fucking tell me what size my dick's supposed to be or anything. Like some of these people when they're spending like $5,000 on a fucking phone, it's like Jesus.
that's the add-on. You got to pay for the
Yeah.
add-on to get that
Yeah.
feature. I'm just. I'm like, yep, about right.
And for like the team Xbox and all that, I could care less. I love fucking video games. You know,
Yeah.
if people want to be team PlayStation, go right ahead. To me,
Hmm.
you're not a real gamer
Hmm.
because you're literally saying, "Oh, well, I want PlayStation to be the only game system out there." I grew up with Sega, I grew up with Nintendo. I play a lot of the classics too.
Yeah.
And I'm a gamer through and through. I love all game systems. I can't wait to get my gaming PC so I can play some of these simulator games that they have.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about virtual reality, to see if you like spent any time with the
Oh, I
Oculus.
love virtual reality.
Yeah.
Era Pro Quarterback is like
Hmm.
one of the ones that like we talked, me and my best friend Brian talked his dad into getting, and it was so cool being able. The only thing is, I'm left-handed as a
Hmm.
quarterback, so it's kind of like trying to throw left-handed in that game. I don't think they got it down yet,
They didn't get the
so
science
it's
of it. Yeah.
yeah.
I love. I had the opportunity to play with the Oculus.
Let's go.
I
Yeah,
remember
the Oculus is awesome.
when I was getting this tattoo. Actually, when I was getting this tattoo, I to ignore the pain, I would get up and I would go and I would play, um, and I would play on the Oculus while I was waiting in between sections and changes and stuff. And man, this thing is a nuts, man. It's almost scary nuts. Like I'm standing in this living room in a basement, and I go from that basement into a field out in Ireland. Water's right there. It's weird. I almost felt like I could feel the breeze and everything. It was nuts. And I was just, oh my God. Like, when I think of how I got confused on my first Sega game and was trying to open the cartridge, like a CD was supposed to be in there, I did that. I opened from that to putting on this headset. I'm just like blown away, man. Blown away by how
It's
far
a
we've came.
whole whole new different ball game nowadays, and like I remember the first time I played virtual reality football, and my best friend Bryant Nelson sacked me while I'm trying to play the game, and it scared the shit out of me. I was like, dude, I didn't think it was that fucking
Yeah, it's
like
immersive, like fully, man.
I didn't
There's
think
this
it was that
one.
immersive. And he's like, oh, I just wanted to screw with you. And I'm like, you cocksucker. Like, it pissed me off when he did that because I have the headset on or I had the thing on. So I'm in the game. And all of a
Mhm.
sudden it's like I'm dropping back. And all of a sudden I feel myself go off my feet. And I'm like, wait, what the hell? And all of a sudden I take it off and I'm like, you prick, Brian.
The emulator is when it like acts like it's
Yeah.
the game count. Oh, okay. I've
Yeah.
never tried that, Chris. I've
Dude,
never tried
there's
that.
so many. There's like a game. It's you can buy it, and it's a game system, but it has like every like console type thing, and I want to get it so bad, and they're a little spendy, but I mean, in honesty, to go back and play some of those older games on today's televisions with the
Yeah,
graphics and all that, like, yeah, sign me up. Um,
I have. What is this? I have a. I one of the only old thing I own still. Let me see. I have the NES.
nice.
Uh, Let me see. I can get it to like show. Yeah,
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 no, dude. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
dude. I still have the remotes and everything for this guy, and on the back you see all the games that it has.
yeah.
But look at that. But yeah, I play with my lady still because she doesn't like all the newer games either and stuff like that. She's a classic, so I we'll sit there and we'll play, old games, like games I used to play in the arcade, man, on Saturdays. It's kind of cool. But I've never used an emulator. Like I've seen them and I know what they do, kinda, but I never used it actually on PC before. So I'm curious of how that like correlates.
Like, oh my god, dude. Like, and we're gonna get to talking about some of your favorite games as well, because I know we
Oh,
talked, and then we kind of went down the rabbit hole of our growing up and all that. Like, what are some of your favorite games, bro?
oh man, it's so tough. Like, first of all, most and all WWE games. I'm not going to get into the topic, I promise. I'm just going to say that I spent a lot of time playing all of them when they first started coming out, and definitely spent many, many hours customizing characters to be family members and friends, and challenging my friends, especially when the first WWE game came out that was online, where you can actually versus your friend at his house and stuff like that in a tables match. And you get on the phone with them that afternoon or at study hall and you're talking all the shit in the world. Oh, I'm going to break your bones, sucker, and all that good stuff. And then you hop on. But so I definitely spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time on that. I will say the Halo series in general. I spent a crazy amount of time on. Still a huge fan till this day. In fact, one of my friends, John, is a what is it?
Cosplayer?
Cosplayer, and he is 7'1". So
Nice.
the actual height of what Chief is 8'2" or something like that. But you ain't gonna find someone like that. But he put this thing on, and it is crazy. He 3D printed everything, sprayed it. I mean, it is insane watching this guy walk around with the mask and all of it because he looks like this guy, like 1000%. So Spartan all day long. It's that. Man, I'll take the Halo games. And of course, I have to go with GTA 5. That's another big one. The Starfield, the newest game. I know it's not highly rated by a lot of people I talk to, but I thoroughly enjoy the game. I,
I
I had a
loved
good
it.
time playing it. I think I've went into the Unity 4 times now, and I'm at a weird one. It's weird. Sarah Morgan is a plant. She doesn't exist. It's just a plant. And there was like other versions of me there that were trying, and one of them tried to kill me. So weird. Um,
I gotta play that game again. Halo 2. Oh my god, when that game came out, me and my buddy Bryant were playing that game because me and him met in uh middle school in sixth grade and became brothers, and all that stuff. It was awesome because now I had finally found like kind of like oh yeah, I love the Halo TV series on Paramount Plus.
I haven't
Um
seen it.
it's great. You gotta watch it, bro.
I
Um
got tired because I got Hulu, then
yeah,
Disney Plus, and
yeah.
then Hulu with no ads, then Netflix, and at some point I start to feel like,
Get rid of
oh,
that
I got
Netflix.
ESPN, of course, and then I got what is the other one? Peacock. So I'm like, dude, at what point am I paying more than I am paying for cable? I might as well just get
Yeah.
cable and get the channel at this point because I'm paying just as much with them separating it all out. But anyway, I haven't seen it. Is it good?
Oh, it's very good. But no, like when Halo 2 came out, I remember me and Brian playing it, and I always say controller break in game. Like I remember once we had finally graduated from high school and going back and playing some of those games again. Like, I had Brian's controller and I was about ready to throw it down. And he's like, He's like, you do that, you're buying me a new controller. So like he had this one friend of ours that we didn't really like, but yeah, we let him hang out with us. And he's playing it out on a different TV. I walked out, I'm like, hey, CJ, can I see that controller? He's like, yeah. I literally grabbed the controller, threw it on the floor, it broke. And CJ's like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm just like, hold on one second. I grabbed it back and I chucked it out the friggin' door at my friend Brian's house. And
Wow.
Brian's just like, he's like, dude, you're a dick, but he's like, smart choice. And CJ's like, what the hell?
So you raged. You raged at
Oh,
games?
I
Like,
did. I did rage at that game. See, to me, I don't take games as serious. Like the new Call of Duty, one time I raged, and like Glick, Mark, and Brian never let me forget about it. But it's just like I'm one of those people that like I like playing calming games. Or I'll play like NCAA, like the new one that's coming out. I already told my buddy Brian, I'm like, you better buy that fucking game because we're gonna play that and I'm gonna beat your ass in that game. Hands of Seeds, Halloween is the one closest to the door. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, Five Nights at Freddy's, Halloween 2, and then the one over by the window is the original Japanese Godzilla versus Ghidorah poster. And the mask is a Jason Voorhees mask that my buddy Mark, who does Talking Shit podcast, he actually got it signed by Ari, who played Jason as the little boy in the very first film. So hopefully that answered that question for you, Hands of Seeds. I don't like the Teenage Mutant Ninja one, but I was at Walmart at the time and I had bought it.
Turtles.
But the one Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle poster I want so bad is the original trilogy ones of the live action ones.
Right, yeah.
And
Talk
once
about
me
the
and my
ones where man, you talking about the real
the
like
90s.
Yeah. I think I know which one you're talking about because I'm pretty sure I remember when they were like eyes getting wide all of a sudden kind of thing, and
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. I didn't like the third one where they go back in time and they're like in samurais in Japan and all that. I didn't like that one, but like I can't wait until me and my wife are able to afford our own house and like I can have my own office. And like the amount of, like that ain't even the amount of posters I want. Like I want so many freaking posters in my game room that it's not even funny. But since, my wife had to take the second bedroom in our apartment for her office and all that, that it pretty much was like, well, I guess I'm out in the living room, so might as well make it my own. Speaking of the wife, but no, like I just always was into pop culture and like on the windowsill I have Funko Pops, I have Batman,
Oh, you
Deadpool.
have Funko Pops?
Yeah.
Nice.
They're here. I'll actually go and get them.
Yeah. I have I had one in my PC build of Gwen from Spider-Man, but not anymore. Did a new PC build and got rid of that, so
Got my Deadpoolio.
yeah, dude. See, I want to do a build with Funko Pops, another one. So yeah.
Groot. James Bond.
Of course you have James Bond. Of course.
The Sean Connery one. Adam Thielen, because I'm a Vikings fan. I know.
Yeah.
Horrible. Delvin Cook when he was a Viking, and one of the original Batmans.
Nice, man.
And that, I want to get the Funko Pops of, like, Michael Myers, Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, like, oh.
You gotta
That's
buy
going to
them
be...
when they're not, like, when it's not the season?
So, hands a seed. That is such a great
Ooh.
question. I actually got to go by eras. My favorite Batman of all time, Adam West. The best
Well,
Batman
I'll
to
catch you,
beat.
sucker. I'll beat you in your I'll beat you in your freaking face with the eyebrows.
Um, and then I
No
gotta
way.
say my personal favorite for Batman ever in the movie universe, Michael Keaton,
Mm.
because he was the very first one in the 80s. We never got our third Batman with Michael Keaton, even though if some people consider the Flash movie our third Michael Keaton movie, I don't. Um, but now rumors are that we are actually going to get an older Batman with Michael Keaton playing Batman, and it's going to be a for sure Batman movie. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get that final one. Hopefully, we get Tim Burton back to direct it because I
Hands
think
of seeds. I could not disagree with Gervais. Don't listen to this guy, even though it's his podcast. Uh, no way. Michael Keaton was a great Batman, but come on,
George Clooney.
Christian Bale was great. He was so great at capturing the actual dark side of it. Like,
Yeah, but here's the thing: he was good at Batman. Michael Keaton was good at Batman and Bruce Wayne. Like
I mean,
Bale,
I feel
Bale
like,
couldn't Bale couldn't change his voice enough to where, like, if I was a villain, I already know he's Batman. Where with
well,
Michael
he
Keaton,
interacts with
it
too
was,
many of them.
yeah.
That's the issue.
But
Yeah.
the worst Batman actor,
Have you
George
seen a
Clooney.
college humor? I agree with that. See, now we're on the same page.
But
Uh,
I love Batman. I think Robert Pattinson,
did a good
Patton,
job.
yeah, I think he did a very good job. It was definitely weird with how they went about it, but I'm so glad they didn't do the 800 freaking Joker movie about it. So like I was very happy with that. Can't
Yeah,
wait for the new Batman 2 movie with him in there. So you know, I'm pretty
and
interested.
surprisingly well. I wasn't expecting him to do as well as he
Yeah.
did. If I'm being honest with you, um, I saw a lot of jokes. I saw Robert Patterson. I saw what's that guy who did come on, why me forgetting his name is insulting. Um, John Wick.
Oh,
Freaking
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves. See, it's insulting to forget his name, but I saw a lot of jokes flying around. I
Let it
think that
be.
he would be a great. So, uh,
The
the Goonies,
Goonies. The
leave
Goonies
it as a
need,
classic. Leave it
like,
as
I
a
would
classic.
like it. I would like a legacy sequel with some of the original cast, but no, don't remake it.
I wouldn't remake it. Yeah, a lot of
No.
remakes suck as a whole, anyway.
And we could talk about that on another day because me and Rock were here to talk about video games. But I will give you one more. My favorite Superman of all time was Christopher Reeves.
Agreed. Agreed.
Um, and I like Henry Cavill. His version of Superman was pretty good. Superman versus Batman was such a horrible fucking
Oh my
version of
god.
how to do it. And it wasn't. I'm not shitting on Ben Affleck because Ben Affleck tried his best to make that movie great. It's the writing was so terrible. Um,
Yeah, I gotta let me. I gotta pull. I gotta show you something because this thing is pretty funny. College humor.
but like and growing up a 90s kid, like I was so thankful that I had a dad, even though he's pretty much not my biological father, but I was so glad that my brother's dad was able to teach me some of the finer things of like movie cinema, like Vanishing Point, uh Deliverance, which I'm kind of still iffy about that movie, The Crow. And then of course
Oh,
the
the crow.
music. Like my mom loved country music, and Motown music. Like my mom was born in the '60s, so it was cool. My dad, my adoptive dad, Brian, my brother's dad, he taught me all about uh, the rock and roll on genre of the '70s, '80s. My brother, of course, being an '80s kid, he taught me about Metallica, Nirvana, uh, Black Sabbath, Pink Floyd, all that shit. So it's like I had a great childhood growing up learning all these different things. And I was one of those kids that was like, I barely listened to the music of my generation. So
Right.
it's just like, so like whenever my brother was like, hey, Steven, listen to this. Um, well, if you think that's the best Nintendo game, I value your opinion, but honestly, Zelda, Zelda,
Zelda, hands down.
Ocarina of Time was the one that I freaking watched. I can
Zelda.
actually here. Let me.
You watch. You keep that link. You can play it on the on your show or later
I'll
on.
play it
But
right. I'll play
this
it right
link is
now if you
funny.
want me to.
It's just funny because it's a. You'll see. It's about Batman. College Humor does like crazy jokes in regards to that, and this one was funny because you mentioned the voice thing. Um,
Oh, I've
man, I
seen
got
this.
kids to feed.
yeah,
Okay, that's not a bad idea. Thank you. That solves most of my problems.
Where were the other drugs going?
I never knew that. Wait, what?
I said, where are the other drugs going?
Why are you talking like that?
It's a bad voice. It's a bad.
Really kind of goes against the whole dark
No, no, no.
Batman thing.
Are you kidding me? I worked on that like all day. I was like bat, sonar, high, squeaking.
It's not scary. It's silly.
I ran this by I ran this by people I know, and they loved it.
It's bad.
Bad. This is embarrassing. Can I please show you another one?
Sure.
Where were the other drugs going? Face.
Malkovich?
Yeah. He's scary. It's like, I'm better. I'm stronger. I'm
Batman.
Totally wrong.
Where were the other drugs going, huh? How's your skin?
Why Pacino?
Maybe I am Al Pacino. You don't know. What's he do at night, huh? Fight crime.
Not a Batman.
Hello, Governor. Where were the drugs going?
You're representing Gotham. I wouldn't go British.
Hey, how you doing? Where were the other drugs going, huh?
It's not good.
Hey! Where were the drugs going? Where were the other drugs going? Where were the other drugs going? Yeah. ¿Dónde están los drugs? Where were the other drugs going? The silly drugs. Where are they? Answer me, Herbertus! Where were the drugs? Supposed to be Dustin Hoffman. Where were the other drugs going? Huh? Do I look like a copy,
All right.
Yeah, fine. Where were the other drugs going?
Oh, wait. What was that?
What?
Do that again.
Where were the other drugs going?
You know what? That's not bad.
I just lost my voice.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Can I just say again?
Yeah, no, I swear to God.
Swear to me! Alfred, I'm coming home. What do you mean, who is this?
I don't know. That one is so funny to me. I figured I'd share it with you. I love College Humor when they make jokes about him choosing his voice of how he's going to do it. Christian Bale did poorly in that. I will admit to that. The switch between Bruce and Batman was a little.
But I mean, we did get a perfect Bane during the Nolan trilogy with Tom Hardy.
That's true. I agree. Yeah. But to round it back to your subject of video games, did you play Arkham Knight?
Yes.
What did you think of the game? Because I was
loved them.
was pretty happy with it.
I even loved The new one they made where you're not playing as Batman, but you're playing as like Nightwing,
Yeah.
Batgirl, Gotham Knights. I like that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That one was pretty good.
I'm a big guy into those games, like those type of role
Oh,
playing
I
games.
love not only that, but I love like comics too. Like
Oh yeah.
and I'll die on this hill. One of my favorite Punishers, other than John Bernthal and Thomas Jane, is Dolph Lundgren.
Ooh. Ooh.
And people shit on the very first Punisher movie with Dolph Lundgren, and it's like, honestly, he plays the Punisher so well.
Right. What do you think of what if you I mean I don't know, I know it's video games, but um what is it? Cage?
Oh,
Luke Cage?
yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love those, like, and that's the thing, like with me, when Netflix had Luke Cage, Punisher, Daredevil, Jessica Jones. I loved all that shit. Like that was cool. And now that they're kind of bringing them back on Disney, it worries me. But at the same time, they're bringing back the actor that did the Netflix one for Daredevil. They're bringing Daredevil back.
Mhm.
They're bringing back the guy who played Fisk, Kingpin. So it's like the sky's the limit with what they do. It's just I hope Disney doesn't do the whole we need to tame it down. Like honestly, if you don't want kids watching that on your app, you have the parental thing where you can change it so that they can't.
Yeah, I think that I mean there's a lot of jokes. I mean there was jokes around Star Wars going to Disney when it did.
Oh,
And
they shit the bed with Star Wars.
they messed it up, in
Yeah.
comparison to what it originally was.
Yeah.
Most genuine Star Wars fans will tell you that they do not prefer the movies under Disney compared to George Lucas.
Yeah.
And it's for good reason. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
I don't know.
definitely.
I really worry when I think about, companies switching to other, I do worry about it because I wonder if the nuance of what I loved about the game or about the movie or whatever being changed because it moves to a different, thing, which is a perfect segue into the Arkham Knights again. The Arkham Knights is being released. The second one is being released as a VR exclusive.
Let's go.
And it was, it's so there's been a lot of fighting going on online about that. TikTok, like
Wait.
there's an
So you
uproar
mean I
about it.
can be Batman?
Yeah, man, like it's crazy. Like you can actually, I mean, Xbox users are mad because that was an exclusive game for Xbox being now moved to PC. And my rebuttal to it is Xbox has already moved to PC.
Yeah.
You have
Like,
Xbox Companion and Xbox Games, Xbox
like
Live.
Microsoft has gone on record now saying that they've wondered if they should change it from Xbox to Microsoft Gaming, and
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, because Bill Gates did, which I know he's not part of Microsoft anymore. He had sold his stake in the company, but he was notorious for hating Xbox.
Yeah.
And, like with the whole segueing into this whole console wars thing, I think it's such a stupid ideology to be like, oh, well, I only like this console or oh, I only like this console. I think it's so stupid.
Most of my friends have both anyway. I've seen most of my friends who play have a PlayStation of some sort and they have an Xbox of some sort.
Yeah.
And of course they have a computer. So it's like, come on, like just enjoy the game.
Yeah, and like me, so like I get a kick out of it when people are like, "Oh, I'm a gamer," and it's like, "Okay, what do you like?" "Oh, I'm PC or I'm PlayStation all the way. Fuck Xbox, fuck PC." Or you get it with the Xbox players or with the PC players, and to me, it's like, then you're not really a gamer.
Yeah.
Because if you want only one company having a monopoly over everything, that's not a gamer, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
because like I love all the systems out there. I love new ones, I love old ones. If I had the money, I would have not only a new gaming PC, I'd have a gaming PC for my wife because my wife's a gamer, which thank the Lord for that one. And you know, like me and my wife, we like all the same things, but like, yeah, she asked me one day, she's like, "What's this whole console wars thing?" I'm like, "Oh, I think it's something that you know the younger generation needs to make themselves feel better."
For real.
Just because they can't find enough things to bitch about nowadays, that you know now
What
it's
what kind of games does she like to play? Is she similar
pretty
to
much
you?
a lot like me. She likes GTA, she likes COD. She doesn't like most of the sports games, but she'll play the hell out of Wreckfest. She loves
Mm.
Wreckfest. She likes Farming Simulator, kind of like building games and all that, which I love those too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it.
There's
But
like base building games and stuff too.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Me,
she
if
loves Halo. She loves
yeah.
Halo. She
I
loves State of Decay. She'll play
oh heck yeah, I like that. Really? Oh
yeah.
man, we need to party. I didn't know that. Like that's another game that I've been really getting into too.
Well, anytime I'm on Xbox most of the time because I haven't got my gaming PC yet, but Jarvis Demon, you know.
Sure. Hey, you hear that, folks? Everyone out there,
No, please don't.
spam him with spam him with it. I want him to
I'll
have
get
like
people
80.
that watch the network be like, "Hey, I seen your show," or "Hey, I seen you on one of the other shows. Let's game." And but no, like to get to know me more for like as a gamer, I'm so much of a different person like gaming because I love the James Bond games. I really can't wait for
What did you say it
um
was? It was what?
James Bond. Or
No, your
for
game.
my
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
I'll put it in the private chat later. Um
It's too late,
but
man. Everyone's gonna clip it.
but no, well, they have to be able to know how to. Well, it's
No,
my
don't,
last
don't.
name and then Demon. Or if you ever go on my Twitch channel, which I used to have a Twitch channel, right there. But no, like the people behind the latest Hitman trilogy are doing a James Bond game in that same type of realm.
Yeah.
And like once I heard that, dude, like I was so excited. And then of course, like when the RoboCop game dropped, I was so excited for that. The new RoboCop game dropped. I bought it day one. The Terminator, which Terminator is now getting a new game. And it's
The
like I can't
Terminator.
wait for that game to come out. And like gaming now has advanced so much. Like I know people bitch and moan that you have to have internet to play some games now, but to me it's just like everything else. Like one day, even though I'm gonna be sad when it happens, movie theaters will be obsolete one day, and it's already
Unfortunately,
starting
yeah.
to happen. And to me, it's like all these people that can sit there and be like, "Oh, I'm so glad when video stores went by." It's like I'm sad because it's like that was my childhood, you know. And now that movie theaters are kind of having trouble, it's kind of like, oh, please don't go yet. I'm not. Hey, EDM Combat, see that someone just went on Xbox because I got that. I was playing the new RoboCop game while I was waiting for the show to start, and you know, I'm so much like I got a kick out of Glick because someone had asked him. They're like, you know, Steven isn't like you guys. You know, you guys like are no holds barred, and Steven's kind of still trying to find himself. And Glick's like, Steven is such an old soul that you know we love ragging on him, but he's our old soul. You
Yeah,
know,
that's right.
and it's like so it was such like I even messaged Glick on Snapchat about it, and I was like, you know, dude, not a lot of people get that about me. Like I'll watch old movies like Jaws, um, Gone in 60 Seconds, the original, you know, and with video games, it's just I'm so laid back with it that it's just I have no time for like the people that will get on like Call of Duty and they're just like, oh, I'm better than you. And it's like me sitting there like, yeah, you're level 500. I'm a level 20 or something. And it's just like, okay, good, cool. You're better than me at a video game. Sweet. You know?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
What do you think of I'm curious, what do you think of Among Us?
I love Among Us. Never been able to play it, but I watch like content creators like Jacksepticeye, Wildcat Terrorizer,
Spaghetti!
Nogla, yeah, Markiplier.
I've had some of the best PC gaming experiences playing that game.
Oh, like once I get my gaming PC, bro,
Oh
you
my God,
you better bring that ass because
I am ready,
like
man.
I told my wife, I'm like I want to be able to with the whole Gervais podcast and all that, and we're rebranding it, which that's going to happen down the road. Hopefully one day I'll be able to afford a gaming PC for not only me but for my wife, because like I want to be able to play Among Us with her as well, and just do like some of the different mods that they have for the game, and like
You're going to have marital issues.
I
Who
mean,
killed Alyssa? You're not me.
Yeah. Oh, God
I've had
forbid
some of
I
the-
get Glick on that game.
Oh
and then
my
him,
God, he would quit. He would rage
Steven,
quit. Yeah.
what did I say about killing your wife? I didn't do shit.
I've definitely had some of the best times on that game, man. Like I have with everything, but
Yeah.
oh my God, the level of man, I've killed in front of people I knew were AFK. I've I've done some crazy stuff in that game, and I haven't played in a long time. My old group of gamers that I used to play with, they ended up moving on to other games and stuff that came out and whatnot have you. But when we were playing it every Friday night, 8 o'clock, get some beers or some moonshine, and you're hanging out and you're just playing some Among Us, it made for some great content.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, like I'm so blessed with I wish my brother played, Xbox or something so that me and him could, game again, but he's on PlayStation and he's so much a diehard PlayStation person. It's like every time I hear him talk about how superior PlayStation is, it's like I want to puke. But
Yeah.
like what is your opinion on the whole console wars?
I still stand with what you said, man. I mean, I think it's very silly to say that you don't like all, that you're just dedicated to one system. I like games. I'm not going for the system. Now, if the system is underperforming like severely, like to the point where I can't enjoy the game that's on that system, then that's one thing. I can say, hey, the system developers need to get their shit together so that I can enjoy this game on their system. But to say one is better than the other, no, not necessarily. I like all games. So there are a few that I'll never touch. I'm not a big horror game guy.
Oh, get your ass on fucking Texas! If I could get a group of my friends together, like just to play a private match with friends would be so fun.
I played a game not too long ago, and it was called Keep Quiet.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
And that game thoroughly scared the shit out of me. Thoroughly. I was so fearful, man. I'm telling you right now, it was crazy. Like they tell you, you can't even play the game without your headset and mic enabled. You can't play the game. You have to keep it on because it's really measuring your breath. So when you walk by something and it scares you, this fucking thing hears you, hears you. And it's like,
dude, Alien Isolation was the same way.
It's crazy,
and
man.
I love playing horror games at night like that when they're like for best play it at night. Like the only one I haven't played yet is Five Nights at Freddy's, and I
love that game.
I love watching it,
That's
but
a
I
jump
haven't played
scare.
it yet.
That's fine.
Yeah,
But when you see like blood leaking out of a wall or something, and then you turn around and there's just this thing right up in your face, bro, and you go, just anything, just a little anything. This thing, oh no, man, it's
Oh my god, like if I could ever get you to play a private match on like some of these games that I play, like oh my god, Rock, you would just swear to God like I'm one of those people. Like if we ever played Friday the 13th the game together, and like
that's a good game too.
you were one of the survivor victims and I was
Yeah.
Jason, I'd literally like mute my mic and wait until like I was behind you and you'd be like, holy shit, I hear the thing, but I don't see where Jason is. And I'd be like, hey, come here, boy. I'm going to show you how big I am.
No,
like,
man,
oh my
that's
God.
Throws me for a loop, man.
Like,
but I've tried. At least I've
Yeah.
tried. But you can still see
Yeah.
I tried. I played the game. I didn't like it. I was like, nah, I'm good. Like games like 7 Days to Die. I don't know if
Yeah.
you played that game too. So
Mhm.
7 Days to Die. I love games like that where it's base building and then you get the big siege on day 7. State of Decay. It's the reason why I like that game. I was thoroughly scared of juggernauts for the longest amount of time.
Same.
These motherfuckers
Same.
are tough. And if you're not playing green mode or regular
Yeah.
mode, you're fucked. You're fucked. There's
Well,
no
you know, Hands of Seed, I think it goes down to personal preference. I love
system
playing. I
or
play.
has the best controller. Well, most
Had
games
or
you can
has.
set up, right? Like you can set up custom
Yeah, you can
controls for
set
most
up
games.
custom controller.
I'll tell you right now, I have the Wolverine. It's the Wolverine remote. I like it because it has the ability to have customization when it comes to vibrations and different.
So it's
prongs
kind
on
of
the back.
like the Elite.
Yeah, it is the Elite.
Yeah, I have the Elite as well for my Xbox, and I love it.
Yeah, it's great and it's compatible with. I mean, a lot of PS4 game controllers are compatible with PC.
Yeah.
So it's great for me. Unfortunately, my PC is where I do most of my gaming at the moment. And so, being able to still have the Xbox feel, it's great, but also I can also switch off for my, PlayStation controller too. It just depends. So, I would say that it really depends, Hands of Seeds. It really does. I don't have a preference in that. And if I do, it dials down to the game itself.
Yeah.
Like what game I'm playing specifically.
Like, granted, playing with the controllers now compared to playing with like an N64 controller, like I can't get like I've tried to play with an N64 controller now and I can't get into it anymore. It's like I'm so used to like this or like, but oh God, I would feel horrible for my wife to play some of these asymmetrical like Dead by Daylight games with like friends and me, because like I would be that total person that'd be like, ooh, my wife's the last one alive, ooh, I'm gonna have fun with this, and I would scare the absolute shit out of her. I remember she's playing some scary game in her office one night and she had the lights off, and
yeah, of course.
and I was just like, oh, and I'm like, hey Bryant, and he's like, what? And I'm like, watch this. And I muted myself and I went in there and then I unmuted and I'm like, hey, pretty girl, how you doing? Let me come get you. And it scared the shit out of her. And I'm just dying laughing. And Brian's like, dude, one of these days she's going to straight up kill you in your sleep. And I'm like, yeah, probably not. Probably not wrong. But like, see, that's the thing I like is gaming with friends. Like,
yeah.
I wish that State of Decay, like I love State of Decay, but at the same time, like they're missing out so much on like storylines and all that. Like I told Bryant, I was like, you know what? If I want to play a zombie game, give me the option to where if I see a mall that I can go in that mall and just build it into a huge fortress. And he's like, okay, calm down there, friggin' dead or Dawn of the Dead. And I'm just like, hey, chill out, That's what I would want to do in a zombie game.
Well, I don't know. It depends on the map. I do Sometimes I'll go with the base, like the standard base, like in
Yeah.
Trouble Valley. I'll stay with the regular base they give you, and then I'll just use my outposts to create the actual base I want. But I wish there was more ability to actually customize
customization.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Like,
was State of Decay 3, which
which
were
is why I like Starfield, because being
Yeah.
able to do your base building. I love that.
See, I on Starfield, it's so complex for me to do base building on that game. But like, I still love base building games like that. Minecraft. Why I got into that game so much, and then of course the
What
mods
was
like
that other game? There was another one that you could play that No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky. Have
oh
you
yeah,
tried that game?
I've heard of it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's another game that I enjoy too, because you can go to different planets and then portal to different bases and mine. I had an underwater base at one point that was super sick. But it
like
was
I built a castle one time in Minecraft, and Bryant and my wife were in there in the server with me, and they're just like, "Hey, let us come in there." I'm like, "Get the fuck away from my castle before I fucking start going medieval on your asses."
nice.
And Bryant's
cool.
like, "You're a much different person in a game," and I'm like, "Oh hell yeah."
Yeah, man, I'm all about my castles.
Yeah. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I played enough base building games. Like, if you build a wimpy base, like, Age of Empires was perfect for that shit because, like, people would be like, oh, hey, I see your base and all that. And it's like, yeah, sorry, I'm still building it. And they're just like, well, I won't fuck with you. And then 10 seconds later, upon the fucking horizon, you just see a bunch of ships coming. And it's like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah. It's highly frustrating, actually.
Oh, it is. But I still love those games. And now that, like, StarCraft was another one that I loved. And, like, Diablo and all them. And,
Yep.
The thing that I think really sucks with gaming nowadays is virtual or VC, virtual currency, because it's starting to get out of hand. It literally is. And I know there's people that are like, well, then just don't buy it. And it's like, well, I get that and I don't. But at the same time, in order for like NBA, in order to get your player like leveled up and all that, you have to buy VC or you have to play the games or you have to play the park and all that shit. And to me, it's just like, just allow me the opportunity to do like the progression system back in the day where you could just play the game, and if you got good, you got good. If you sucked, you sucked, like
exactly, yeah.
That's the way I look at it. And with so many games coming out now where VC is kind of required just to even be competitive, it's like it's stupid.
Yeah, it's definitely a mess. I'll say that for sure.
But like, I understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, it's just like GTA Online being the biggest one for like VC and all that, or Rockstar Bucks and all that. It was like, I was so pissed off when Red Dead 2 came out and they tried to pretty much, with Red Dead Online, they pretty much tried to make it a GTA Online clone, and they couldn't because you had to go back by Old West standards of money and currency. And they promised us so much, but yet when it didn't work out, they were like, well, screw Red Dead Online, which Red Dead 2 had such a great story. I love that story. But at the same time, it was like, once you got on online mode, all the stuff we were promised, it was just like, it was such a letdown. And even with GTA Online, I felt like it was a letdown because they wanted you to do so many different stuff. And like, after a while, I was like, well, we're not going to do that. We're going to pivot and we're going to give you all this other stuff, which is okay. I really love those games that like give you the opportunity to build and give you a progression system where like, with like State of Decay, you get the survivors that you want, you get to pick them. And then, like, you get to also get textbooks that, like, if you want a doctor to level up your character. I love that shit. Like, them are the best games. That, and if you throw strategy into it.
I think it would be more. I think State of Decay needs to incorporate. So you know you can go to the electrical plant,
Yep.
set up an outpost, and have electricity for your base. You know that you can go to
The water.
a gas or a water place,
Yep.
and you'll have these perks.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have some sort of book perk. Like if you went to a library, the chances of you finding books would be increased. You know,
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
they don't have like a set place for that. They're kind of random and sporadic.
Yeah.
Or you get somewhere like the electrical, or you get a base that gives you that ability to learn the skill. But I think it'd be very, very much so better as a function if they were able to incorporate a place where you can go and get certain things. You know what I mean? Because most places, most towns have some sort of library, whether big or small, somewhere where you can go. You know, State Hall, somewhere. And I think that if all these places are supposed to be actual places, like Trumbull Valley, they had some sort of school or library or something that you can go into and get books. But they
Yeah.
don't unfortunately have that. So I think that is my that is a con for me when it comes to that. Don't get me wrong, I still play the game to figure it
Oh,
out,
I
or I buy
love
them
the
from
games.
the traders or
It's
something.
it's just like the one thing that pisses me off about State of Decay. Well, State of Decay, the first one was good. State of Decay 2 is better, but at the same time, like, give me more. Like the customization side of it. Like, I want to be able to build my own house, build my own base, and have fun with it. Like, I think that would breed a lot more creativity in the game. And now with State of Decay 3, which is not coming out for a while, like, honestly, they've been talking about doing that stuff. Granted, they've also talked about making it more of an multiplayer type portion, which to me is kind of nerve-wracking and scary because how toxic people can be on online games.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, gaming as a whole, it's getting better, but at the same time, it's also coming down. And I think in the long run, I don't have high expectations for GTA 6 because I'll play the game no matter what
I was
because I
just
love
about to ask
GTA.
you that.
And there's so many people that want these leaks to come out and all that, and to me it's kind of ruined it for me because it's just like, why don't you just wait? Like, yeah, we get it, you're impatient and all that, but honestly, it's like you could just wait until they decide to announce it. Or anytime like something Rockstar says, people immediately will jump to, oh, it's something about GTA. And once it's not and it's about something different, they immediately shit on Rockstar. And it's like, they never said it was about GTA.
Yeah.
And social media has just been a killer with video games. And, it's sad. It really is. But at the same time, like, I still enjoy video games. I think it's kind of interesting how some of these games will act stupid or be like, we have to be political with these games and all that. I never truly
Yeah, I
understood
don't
that
like that
shit.
either.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
My camera's messing up, so I'll be right back. Hold on.
No worries. Yeah, video games is definitely a thing, man. I've played a little bit. I do a lot. I don't play a lot like I used to. A lot of the time now, I don't spend too much time playing video games as much as I used to.
Yeah.
But I have had any chance I get, tonight, I work tomorrow, so yeah, I'm gonna spend an hour tonight if I can playing, some video games and hanging out. Or like I like spending some time, but I do miss the old days. I miss the come home from high school days or the stay home because
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sick days
Like,
and spend time.
my weekends are dedicated to games. Like, yeah, I'll do stuff around the house and all that, but at the same time it's like, I don't go we don't go out very often anymore, and most of the time it's like, well, what do you want to do? And it's like, well, fire up the systems and play video games. And like I told my wife, I was like, you know, I miss, and granted, I'm that person like with work where I'll call in sick and be like, I'm sick playing a video game, you know.
Mhm.
And like NCAA, once the new college football game comes out, like, oh man, I'll probably play that game up until I get bored with it
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
love that shit. Like, and the gaming soundtracks back in the day and certain ones nowadays are amazing. Like, I remember when Red Dead Revolver
Mhm.
first came out and they had all this old spaghetti western type music. And it was just like, I love that shit. Like, and then of course when you had Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 come out and they had that type of atmosphere songs to them, like it would take you back to watching the old school western movies. Like, I love that shit too. Like, I think it's funny when people nowadays will be like, they'll go on social media and they'll say, "Oh, gaming's dead." I don't think it's gaming's dead. I think it's just people have become so much toxic that they bring that shit into gaming, and that's what's killing gaming.
Right.
Like, they go on Modern Warfare on Call of Duty or something, and they'll beat you, and they'll just be like, "Uninstall the game" and shit, and it's like, just calm down and have fun,
Right.
you know?
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Thank you.
Rock Lee's better half.
Uh-huh.
What do
She
you
brought me
got?
some food.
What you got, bro?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
But like,
Uh, she brought me. Let's see. I got French fries,
ooh,
cucumbers, carrots, and chili.
ooh, there we go. Let's go. You know what you need to do now? You need to marry that woman.
I know. I've heard it from her as well, man. So, and she's like, "Hey, I'm just saying, I'm pretty good." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
I
pretty
mean,
good."
me and my wife have, as a couple, have been together for gonna be 8 years. Married, it's gonna be 2.
Well,
And like,
how did you propose?
so I was never one that wanted to propose at a restaurant because I think it's so stupid and tacky nowadays. Because everyone
Mhm.
does it. Most people, everyone's got to do it that way. Like, we had come home. Well, like, I was like, hey, she had came home from work, and most of my work is what I'm doing now, where I'm either doing my podcast or I'm doing something building of my company. And like, she came home from work, and we had our dog at the time living in an apartment like we are now, but in a different one. And she came home from work, and I was like, hey, let's go out. Let's just go out, have
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah.
And uh, the Vikings playoff game, which they lost that night, but we went to B Dubs and it was so packed. And I was like, you know what? Let's go to Outback Steakhouse because I was craving a frickin' steak. And
Yeah.
so went to Outback Steakhouse and I was just like, you know what? I think today's the day. I think I'm gonna propose to her. And as soon as we got back to the apartment, I had written it down on a note and I was like, hey Jax, which was our dog at the time, I was like, come here, buddy. And I pinned it on the dog, like on his vest.
Oh, that's cool, man.
And I was like, Jax, go to mom. And he got halfway there and the note came off the vest and he looked at it, sniffed it, and ran towards her. And I'm like, buddy, well, I handed her the note and I was like, Alyssa, face towards the window, not towards me. And she's like, okay. And I got down on one knee, which was hard because my knees are trash. And it's like, I'm sorry. I know, our relationship has had its ups and downs, its highs and lows, but would you do the honor of making me your husband and you being my wife? And she turned around and, she was crying and I was kind of like, I had the happy tears going. And it's like being able to announce it, even though a lot of people on her side of the family don't like me. because they don't know who I am, so they don't like me. And it was so nice for her to say yes, because all the shit that we went through as a couple, some people in her family not agreeing with us as a couple and all that. And it's like, it just goes to show you that true love conquers hate,
That's right, man.
and I picked the right woman,
A crazy
some.
combo. What are you talking about? It's chili, like fries, so I can dip them in my chili, and then my
Ooh,
veggies, of
yeah.
course. Yeah.
Like, and I we're gonna wrap this up soon, but I just I've always been a gamer at heart, and when I found the right woman, I knew it. And when the time's right, you'll know it too. It's not like it's a light bulb going off, like it's like, oh my God, I gotta propose to my significant other. It's just it's gonna hit you, and you're gonna know.
Yeah.
Like,
I
and
I've already had like so I had a dream a couple nights ago that I was getting married, bro. I had a dream that, and it starts off
it's
with
telling
me.
you.
Yeah, so
It's
I already
telling you.
know this because like I had a dream.
Yeah,
I don't dream often. That's another thing with me. I just darkness
yeah.
and then wake up. That's what it is. And I had a dream about it, and I had everybody I knew around. Glick was there. You were there. Brian was there,
Let's
and
go.
everyone's sitting around, and Glick is looking really, really rough, like red in the face, like rough, like he is drunk already. And I start off by like looking at him. I'm like, what? I was like, what are you doing? And then I looked down and I saw that woman walking down the aisle, man. And I was like, it scared me so much, or startled me so much. I actually woke up in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, so I know preemptively it's in the back of my brain already. Like preemptively, I just haven't. I don't know.
you
I
haven't done it
haven't made
yet,
the call
but
yet.
you
Yeah,
know what,
and
bro?
I'm also very, I'm very, what is it? I'm very grand. Like I have, like if I'm gonna do it, like I want to do it grand, like not in a restaurant, but
Yeah,
oh,
you
shut
want
up.
it to.
Yeah, of course, click truck. Yeah.
It's
um,
part of his Saskatchewan. It's part of his Sasquatchian heritage, Alyssa.
he's doing me an honor.
Stop being racist, Alyssa.
So anyway, I had to dream about it. Woke up, did not tell her about it at all. But in my head, I definitely went over it a couple times. Like, oh man, so I don't want to do a restaurant or anything like that. But what matters to her is family and friends and
Yep.
stuff like that. So it would have to be incorporating that, I think, in some way. So yeah, I she watches the podcast, by the way, too. So hopefully she misses this episode, but um it's definitely something to think about. So thank you for that, because I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna need some
I
tips.
mean, you know, you know, leading up to all that, I mean, she had been there when I almost lost my dad,
Yeah,
and she knew how emotional that was for me. But at the same time, it was just like my dad in his hospital bed at the time, which thank God he's still here with us. But he even said, he's
that's
like,
great.
he's like, what more does that woman need to do for you to understand? We were like, when we first started dating, like I would literally call her and I'd be like, hey, Alyssa, I paid all the bills. I got dog food for the dog. You know, there's this game I really want to get. Can I get it? And she's like, well, how much is it? And I'm like, well, the standard edition's like $50 and the deluxe edition was like $60. And she's like, well, if you can afford it, just know that hopefully you have groceries. I'm like, oh yeah, I have all that shit. And she's like, well, then get the game. And like, I was always like that when we were dating. And even when we moved in, like, I never said it was my money. Like, it was our money. And there's so many people out there that are like, well, you bitch about it being your money now as being married. It's like, it was never my money. Like, I would come home with once me and Alyssa started dating, it was almost like we were married right away.
Yeah.
Because it's just, we we did everything as a team, you know, and that's the biggest thing about it. You know, there's people that give me shit that they're like, well, your wife makes more money than you. And to me, it's just like, so what? You know, I was never one of those people that ever threw it in the face of my significant other when I was making good money, and Alyssa never threw it in my face that she's making good money. It's like, I always look at it as it helps the team. It helps us achieve our goals, you
Yeah.
know, and that's the
That's when
biggest thing
I
I would
decided
say.
to become a stripper and make some more money. You know, I was just like, you know what? This is the time for me to get into my prime. That's what it is. It's a prime ball. That's all I wear is prime. Prime. I'm joking, everybody.
The sad thing is, I will be in that strip club with you. Cause like my wife's like, "What's one job you've always wanted to try?" And I'm like, "Well, not that I have the body type for it, but I'm like stripper." And she's like, "What? Oh, so then you can have all the girls looking at you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, kinda." But like, it doesn't come down to like, it's more like a confidence thing for me because I never had confidence in like people that know my story. Like me and my brother were abused by my mother, our mother. So it's like, you know, that fucked me up. And then, you know, my biological father skipping out on me, and then having my brother's dad raise me as his own son and all that. Like, I've told many people this. I'm like, if my dad would have died, you know, because of his seizures when he was an alcoholic, I never would have gotten married. Like, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have felt right. And when having my dad, like, people are like, so what was your favorite moment or favorite picture, you know, of your wedding? And I said, me and my dad. Like,
Yeah.
you know, just to have him there and being a Jarvis, you know, because like when I was able to change my last name to Jarvis, it was pretty much to honor my dad, you know.
Yeah.
And there's so many times where it's like I tell my wife, I'm like, you know, if it would have went another way, I would never be able to ask him so many things. Like when I was diagnosed with mental health issues with anxiety and depression, like my dad at first didn't know how to handle it, but it's just like he's gotten to the point where he'll like call me and be like, "Hey, you know, how's everything? How's the job going?" And I'm like, same old, you know, I'm not getting richer." But like
Right.
having my dad there, and then like my picture on Facebook, and you've
I
seen
have.
my
Yeah.
pictures on
I
Facebook.
have. Yeah.
It's my dad, me, my wife, and my mother. And you know, my mom and my dad being able to like put away all the bullshit of their divorce and all that shit. And they got divorced twice, you know, and the last time they were married was when I came into the picture, and you know, when he took me in and all that. It was like once they divorced for the last time, it's like I was so young, so it didn't really process what was going on. But at the same time, it was like having my dad there and having my mom there and having them being able to, you know, be able to like put away their bullshit and all that. Granted, our wedding was kind of, you know, my mother-in-law was trying to force a lot of shit on us that we didn't want. And we were paying for our own wedding. And that it so like my wedding was kind of like, to me, it was just people had ruined it. But to have
Yeah.
my dad there and to be married to the woman of my dreams and have my family there that loves Alyssa to death, it was just so amazing. Like my speech that I said to my dad, which like we honeymooned up in Duluth, which is like 2 hours or like almost 4 hours away from where we're at now in Minnesota. And I called my dad on the honeymoon and I just said, you know, thank you for coming to the wedding. And he's like, oh, before I let you go, you know that speech you said? He's like, damn, dude, I never knew I had that much of an impact on you. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, the reason I'm married and the reason why I'm the man I am today is because of Brian Jarvis. You know, like I wish that Ernie, my biological father, would have allowed Brian to adopt me legally when I was a kid, but you know, it just it's so cool to have that person in my life that, you know, I can go to. And me and him, we always talk about like sports and all that shit. And it's just like, and
Yeah.
my dad hated sports, but like he used to watch me play and, you know, all that shit. And, you know, it's so cool to still have him in my life. And then, you know, some of the pictures from the wedding where it was like me, it was like our dad, my brother, me. And it's like the three pillars of Jarvis, you know, and all that shit. And
Yeah, yeah, bro.
the one that really got me was like when I was talking about my speech, and I was like, but I have to thank one person, last but not least. And I said, I pointed right to the guy, and I'm like, my dad. And like I was having such trouble getting through that part of the speech because of how much he meant to me. And I'm like, there's no disrespect to the people that are part of my family, but if it wasn't for that man, I would have been dead in a ditch somewhere, or I'd have been hooked on bad stuff in my life. And so it's just like, I'm like, that guy allowed me to play video games, that guy allowed me to play sports, that guy allowed me to tell me that, hey, the woman you're with is your wife. Marry her, you stupid bitch. And
It sounds
like
like Glick.
yeah, and like the best advice I can give to people is, you know what? Never go to bed angry with your significant other. You know, if you have you're gonna have fights. You know, as long as it isn't like you're beating each other up, but you're having like those arguments about like money and stuff. Just realize money isn't everything. You know, just enjoy life. We got one life, you know. Yeah, I could be doing some of the jobs like my best friend Bryant's doing right now, where he's making good money. But me, I've always wanted to enjoy life more, you know. And it's just it's one of those things that, you know, I'm so very grateful for the people I met. Like when I first met Rock, like it was so cool to be able to meet someone. And like I told Glick, I'm like, I want to have him on the podcast. And there's a few people that were like, but Glick already had him on the podcast talking about music. And I'm like, and like I told Glick about it. I'm like, is that like I asked Glick on Snapchat. I was
Mhm.
like, you know, if you don't want me to have Rock on the show, I'm fine. Just tell me and I won't. And he's like, well, just don't do music. And I'm like, no, that I would never do that. I said, that's what you do, man. Like, I'm like, I want to talk with Rock Lee about stuff that maybe me and him like. And like when I said video games, I was just like, and you were talking about the favorites you had and the favorites I had. It was like, dude, we got some shit in common, man. Like,
Yep. Yes, we do.
and like I told Glick, I was like, you know what? Rock, me and Rock, we're gonna be like brothers.
Yep. Yep. I already added you. You saw my thing
Yeah,
come through.
and I'll add you back once we're done with the show. But you know what, Rock? I loved having you on the show, man.
This is great, bro. I told you it's
This
gonna
is
be
great.
dope.
And for everyone that doesn't know Rock yet, go check out his YouTube channel. Rock, if you want to shout it out, by all means.
Yeah. I mean, go and check out EDM Combat's sounds, EDM Combat remixes. I do remixes. I do original music. I got an album coming out October 16th, and it's going to be eye-opening, I think, for a lot of people that have followed me so far. Um, I have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Follow me on all social media platforms where you can find me. And thank you, Jarvis, for having me on the show, man. I was excited about it. Literally put it in my calendar. I only do that for important things, man.
Fuck you, Glick.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck you. I'm just kidding, bro. I'm just kidding, big brother. Thanks for letting me on. Yeah, no, just kidding.
But
But no, I really enjoyed this, man. This was great. I haven't actually had somebody ask me about video games before. It's mainly
nice.
always about my music stuff, so it was pretty cool for me to have like a different kind of like interview, almost.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And don't just leave yet, but for everyone out there, thank you so very much for joining us tonight. This is the Jarvis Podcast, part of the Nonsensical Network, where we have shows every day of the week. That's Monday through Sunday.
Every
Monday
day.
is Men Caring for Men. That's the men's mental health show. Tuesday is Jeff's Garage. Wednesday is What the Fuck News. All the news that makes you go, what the fuck? Thursday is Talking Shit with Mark and Brian. Friday is Glick's House of Music. Saturday is the flagship show, which is Nonsensical Nonsense, the Open Door Challenge. And Sunday, we come back around and we end the week with the Gervais podcast. Also, if you're looking for all the social medias for the network, go to bio.link/nonsensical network. And you know what? Rock Lee, let's hit him with some wisdom before we go. Any words of wisdom, brother?
I got words of wisdom for everybody out there. Don't shit in the pot that you piss in. Wait, no, that's not it. Wait a minute. Let me redo that, okay? Shit in the no. Look, I'm gonna end everyone's about to go to work Monday morning. You guys about to start. One, happy Memorial Day to everybody out there. Two, love yourself and know that you're enough.
Yeah.
We'll end it right there.
If women can't find you nonsensical, at least they can find you handy. And don't be a climatite. Be a Rock Lee.
Yeah, fuck that guy, bro. Fuck that
Also,
guy.
check us out
And
tomorrow.
if you like Climate Tite, the fuck out of the podcast room. Go somewhere else.
And
that's what I got.
check out Monday's show, Men Caring for Men. It will be part 2 of the Veterans Tribute show. Part 1 was last Thursday on Talking Shit. That's talking and then SHTTT. Go check that one out. It was an awesome show. I won't be on tomorrow night's Men Caring for Men. There's gonna be so many great people on that show that tomorrow night that I kind of told Glick that I was gonna not be on it as respect for our veterans. Also, happy Memorial Day to everyone. To our veterans that have served for this country, that have given some and some that have given their lives and all that. Thank you so very much. We appreciate the sacrifice that you have given us, the people, and to the people that don't appreciate y'all, you know what? To those people, go fuck themselves. I'm Gervais. That's Rock Lee. Support to the troops. We love you all, and we'll see you all next time.
Yeah, forget you, Alyssa.
Easy now.
I